Obviously, because of the UK riots, there has been a lot of talk recently about how much did the role of social media have to play into these riots? Did it um, help, or in some cases, you know, after the riots, when we saw sort of the response from the police, because there were responses from the police sort of shown sort of a couple of days after what was happening to these writers, did that also have an effect as well in sort of bringing these riots to an end? Because so far, from what we can see, they've very, very, very much calmed down. We've seen counter protesters completely, in some cases, outnumber the the I don't know, the rioters by about 100 to 1 in some cases. um, so it gives me a bit of hope, at least, that there's far more, shall we say, sensible people than, well, these people. However, I think asking the question about social media, shall we say, and of course the role of radicalization, it has not just played in the case of these riots, but throughout the past couple of years, is an absolute question we should be asking. We've known for quite a while about the alt-right pipeline. And if you don't know what that is, or if you've never heard of it before, well, here's your chance and opportunity. So this was something that came out, I want to say 2016, 2017, can't remember the exact date now, but it came out around some time about them. And this was a paper that had been written, I believe, by someone from an American university. At least I think it was. Again, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head now. I can't remember if it was or not. I'm so sure someone will tell us down in the comments. But they did a look into this, like what was happening. And they took a blank YouTube profile, brand new, registered, and they started watching certain content on this profile and very quickly started to realize that the algorithm would start to recommend you more and more and more extreme views and content. As you fell down this pipeline. And there have been numerous people that have talked about how they fell down the alt-right pipeline and how they ended up getting out of it. So it's well worth knowing and realizing that we've known about the radicalization that has taken place on social media. And it is also well worth pointing out, just last year, that you had Suella Braverman, come out and say just a year ago, we are taking resources away from Prevent, which is the UK anti-terrorism, sort of radicalization movement. We are taking resources away from focusing on far right, radicalization, putting it mainly into anti sort of Muslim sort of radicalization, because that's, according to her, where the biggest threat has sort of been coming from. However, would actually be kind of interesting to hear maybe from, I don't know, maybe the police, maybe even MI5, where they think sort of the biggest sort of domestic threats in terms of the UK are actually coming from. Would not surprise me, just as we saw in America a couple of years ago, where the FBI came out and said, actually, we really need to be concerned about homegrown terrorists and, far right terrorists. That's what we are seeing a lot of radicalization sort of coming up in. That's what we are sort of worried about. Of course, who happen to be in that charge at the moment happen to be the Republicans. So they very well quickly swept it under the rug, just as we saw here. However, there is now, I think, an interesting question to be asked, because one of the big figures and, of course, spreaders of, well, not just a spreader, but almost a super spreader of the misinformation that we saw going around for the past couple of weeks was none other than Elon Musk. And we had a good, interesting interview, I believe it was on the BBC Breakfast Show, from an Oxford professor who came out and said, Elon Musk has been potentially radicalized by his own algorithm. And I actually stopped and thought and realized they're right. Elon has been radicalized by his own algorithm. Uh, when you stop and think about it, it makes a ton of sense. You go back through, like, Twitter history, and you can see Elon Musk very, very much focusing not a lot on politics, didn't used to focus a lot on politics at all, really until really a couple of years ago. And that was because he was specifically really being targeted because Elon was like a big free, or at least had become a big free speech boy. And ultimately, that's where people of the far right started talking to him. We know that there was an email, as either an email exchange or as a text exchange between him. I don't think we know who exactly off the top of my head. Can't remember if who it was now. Of oh, you should buy Twitter, Elon. You should buy it and make it a free speech haven. Again, mentioned not only in this book, Breaking Twitter, but Extremely Hardcore as well. Two very good books if you want to learn about not only how and why Elon sort of bought Twitter, but the sort of like the immediate aftermath. It gives you a wide understanding of what's going on really at the moment as well. And in fact, even on this, good example was, and why I think he has really been radicalized. There's an example in here of Elon tweeting out during the Super Bowl and him becoming absolutely furious that his tweet was not being seen by more people. So obviously he goes to the engineers and they have to explain it to him, but he doesn't understand it. He gets furious and insists that his tweets gain priority. And now you have to really start thinking, has something in the algorithm, because of Elon Musk's insistence that he be sort of, king tweeter, is he, and the fact that he is on almost Twitter non-stop. I mean, the guy is a prolific tweeter. Honestly, it's insane how much he tweets. But because of the algorithm, and we know how the algorithm works, that if you like something, if you see something, if you respond to something, which Elon Musk increasingly over the past 3 years or so has been increasingly engaging with more, far right, alt right content. Has he been radicalized by his own algorithm? I think the answer is yes. I think absolutely Elon Musk has become a victim of his own algorithm. And the more and more you think about it, the more and more you're actually, oh yeah, he has. He really, really has. So I'd be interested to know what you guys think to this, because I am very, very much subscribing to that theory that he has now become radicalized by his own algorithm. I really do think he is. Really do. And bear in mind, one of Elon Musk's like core target market for like the Tesla market, if you look at who buys Teslas and the reason that they are doing it, I couldn't think of a more bigger departure from the current target market that Elon Musk is portraying. So that could be something else, which is also, well, turning off Tesla or turning off people from buying Teslas. I wonder if at any point, the Tesla stock owners might say, "Hey, Elon, can you get off Twitter for a bit? Have a break. Have a Kit Kat every once in a while." But honestly, I really do think he has been radicalized by his own algorithm, and it makes a lot of sense when, again, you read Breaking Twitter and Extremely Hardcore, where he's like insisting that his tweets be like more prominent, be more forward. And then you think, well, who's he been interacting with for the past couple of years? What does the algorithm do when it feeds you that content? So, yeah, let me know what you think. But I really do think he has been radicalized by his own algorithm. But I will also say this: a lot of that stuff, a lot of his nonsense was already there, and I think the algorithm has just fed him even more and really brought it out what we've seen sort of very recently. But as always, let me know what you think down below in the comments. And of course, as always, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there's a link to my Patreon page, the Buy Me Coffee link where you can, well, buy me coffee, the YouTube thank you button. And of course, as always, there's the Pony Club down below as well. And of course, you can help out the algorithm in a good way by leaving a comment, clicking the like, clicking the share button. As always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.